and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another podcast, okay? The Tays and Ginge. Oh, have I done the right intro right?
Yeah, Tays and Ginge off stream.
Oh, you're not meant to
fucking
speak.
get
You're not meant to
involved
speak
yet.
yet.
Serious.
So, you can't do that on this
No,
show because you're not paying me.
We're not done.
To be fair, we're not.
Don't do that.
When you pay me, you can talk to me however you want. You ain't paying me to be here.
As you might have saw there, we have got a guest today. It is Laurence.
Sorry to everyone who just clicked off in the thumbnail.
No, don't click off too early, please. He has got some interesting
He's
stories.
actually all right.
He's all right. I'll be honest. He's all right. But
Why am I
yeah,
here?
welcome him.
Why am I here? There's no reason for you to have me as a guest. It's absolutely fantastic.
Well-
When you asked me, I went, that is lovely charity, what you've just done there.
No, because for me, you're part of the OG YouTube.
No, telling the truth, mate. We had 2 cancellations.
Right. And this is Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, we're just going through contact. And go on, we'll give Laurence a go.
Literally, I walked in the room and they went, fuck it.
But no, for me, you were definitely part of the OG YouTube, and I don't want to say the same as you, but I want to start getting some people on that were there from the old times and still around now to see what they were doing then, what they were doing now.
Yeah.
And I believe, having your recent work, you've probably got some interesting stories.
Probably, yeah. Let's find out, right?
Yeah.
I think we genuinely did the first podcast in the UK that was long form on YouTube.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah. Go on then, name another. Yeah? Do you know any other big ones?
No, go on. What podcast was that?
True Geordie I don't think True Geordie gets enough flowers for what he did. Making podcasts like this into a thing. Because
So you saying True Geordie was the first big podcast?
But that was off his own steam. Obviously, I was just part of it. But when we started it, he was with an agency, and they went, "Don't do what? You're going to upload over an hour on YouTube? That's crazy." And then we started to do it, and then it was like, "Oh, right, oh yeah, of course." And I don't think he gets because of obviously everything that's happened since. I don't think he gets the credit because on YouTube it's very easy to just wipe people away or cancel them and just go, "Yeah, well, nah, they were never as good as they thought, were they?" Like. Come on, mate.
Yeah,
Give it a
I
rest.
hear that. And you know a thing or two about cancel.
Culture.
Yeah, you know a thing or two, but we'll dive into that a bit later.
Do the news thing.
Yeah,
Up there,
speaking of cancel, someone who's been cancelled about 15 times, but she has still got a job, is Aluko.
Right.
She's trying her best.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Who's that? Not the best response you want, is it? It's that's just disgusting.
Is that racist or sexist?
No, not in like
It's
a rude or ignorant
the
way.
female footballer pundit that gets a lot of stick for what she.
Oh, really?
said.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So she came out recently and she said Ian Wright had stopped a lot of women getting higher roles or whatever it was, stopping a lot of opportunities for women because he's involved in women's football. A lot of backlash for it, and then had to apologise.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on it?
About Ian Wright or about any Aluko or about whether he stopped women?
No, just as a whole.
Her big issue is whatever she says, because she's got the history of...
People instantly think you don't know what you're on about.
And if someone dislikes you, then you could say the most reasonable thing, like we should feed starving children in a war zone, and people go, "Oh, don't know any." You know, like... what have the kids done? Do you know what I mean? Or they go, well, where are the parents? You know?
Yeah.
And she also picked the most likable person in football in Ian Wright. I've worked with Ian. We worked with Ian before he was big. And
What do you mean by before he was big?
What are you trying to say?
Well, so when Ian left football, he went and did the BBC and did all those punditry things.
Yeah.
And I think he was seen as like, oh, fun Ian. And I might be speaking out of turn here, but we had a company called Ball Street, and I worked for them.
Yeah.
And we filmed some of Ian's like first YouTube-y style things, probably about 12, closer to 15 years ago now. And at the time, it wasn't really cool to like talk about stats or those kind of things, but we would like script things out and then give them to Ian, to the point where when Ian first started doing big TV gigs in the States, the same guy who was our researcher researched for him like freelance, just to add extra things in so that Ian would do well.
Right, okay.
So I'm not saying we were responsible for that, but like Ian really worked hard to become the pundit he is today.
Yeah.
And now he can be that like both. And he's a bit of a godfather of the whole space now, isn't he?
Yeah,
so
he
she
is.
just picked the wrong guy.
100%.
Say bloody or something, or like, you know, don't say that name.
Around,
Beat that. Beat that. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of beef. Yeah, that's a bit, man. So obviously I've not seen this. So she's saying because he's a pundit in the women's football space.
Yeah.
But isn't she a pundit in the men's football space?
She is. But because it's because it's seen that men have a lot of opportunities, it doesn't matter if women go into that space. But she's saying because Ian's in the women's space, it's stopping prominent women.
But Ian's been in it for a very long time as well.
Well, also, women's football has to grow. And if you want men to be fans of it,
Exactly.
you do have to...
Funny story, yeah? Right? So I went to the Man United versus Man City derby, women's derby, right?
game.
So, and I actually really did enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I did.
You don't need to say that, but okay.
No, I did, because people expect, as soon as you say women's game, people think, oh, it's not good, but I enjoyed it, right? It was really good.
Why weren't you saying that before the cameras turned on?
I know you were saying that.
Why were you saying,
what was it when he said
why were you
Here
saying
we
you'd win
go.
a Ballon d'Or if you played in the women's game?
You said you wanted to sub yourself on.
Yeah.
No, so anyway, right, and in my head I'm thinking, you know what, the crowds are going, it's good, right? And I'm thinking, it can go places, but you need the right things to do, like obviously
Yeah.
you need Ian Wright involved to help it grow and stuff like that.
And you.
then,
People like you, genuinely, using women in, like, even in Girth and Turf or whatever, that is important that it's not just like, oh, she's a women's player, who cares? Like, to see people just interacting with the women's game like you, I think that you wouldn't have maybe gotten that 10 years ago.
possibly.
It's important.
Yeah, I hear that. But anyway, so they're all chanting and I've joined in, right? And I'm normal chants, but obviously they tweak a few of the words because it's different game and all that stuff. So anyway, he was chanting, and I've swore in this chant because that's the normal. Yeah, exactly.
You have not.
Right, and that's just the normal chant.
Can't be doing that.
It's like they say something like, "Will you sit it? Just go home" or something. And I've said, "Fuck off home," right? And
Why
everyone,
don't say T that one?
yeah, exactly. And everyone looks at me like I've shot a gun.
Yeah. Well, you
Right.
can't swear around women, mate.
No, this is the thing, right? So anyway, and then this guy's next to me. He's gone, "Oh no, you don't swear here." And you what? He went,
Fuck off.
honestly, I went, "Oh, you serious?"
Yeah.
He went, no, you don't swear here.
What?
I went, how can you expect the game to grow and be as big as the men's game if we're all going to start changing it?
So I see that point. Could you make the argument that could you make the argument that if they want to include children a little bit more in there,
Children are
I don't
included
mind
in the
swearing
men's
around
game.
kids, to be honest. I think kids should know swear words.
I agree.
I know. I don't mean like they should. My son knows, like, he knows the phrase "for fuck's sake."
How old is it?
4.
That's fair enough.
But I think he has to. We see it as kids should know swear words because then when adults use them, they know the context.
Yeah.
And if you've got someone who is a bit, like they're nasty, you want that kid to know the context of that word to know that person's nasty.
They should know it's wrong, but they should know the word, is what you're saying.
So they obviously, I'm not going to go home and go say it whenever you want. Like, he'd never say it in polite company, but he knows it.
Yeah,
So
they've got-
that
they've got to know
if
when
someone
and where,
sinister
innit?
comes around him,
Yeah.
you want to know that.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is censorship. I don't think you should be you should be allowed to swear if you want, and they should be allowed to not swear.
So my point there is, right, and I could get myself, and 20 of my mates all to go to a United derby, a women's game, or just United Arsenal, something like that, a United women's game. We're all 20 of us are chanting the chants, etc., making a nice atmosphere,
Yeah.
right? Because compared to the men's game, the atmosphere is so different, it's unbelievable, right? So you could do that, but then obviously we're there because we want to do the normal chants. We don't want to change anything. So then when you start limiting it and start going, oh, do you know what? Let's make the chants a bit softer. Instantly, the people from the outside looking into the women's game are going to go, no, it's too soft for me. I don't like that.
I see that point.
Do you understand what I mean?
I think that's fair enough. I think I see, if someone doesn't want to swear, fair enough. I just think it gets to the point where when they're telling you what to do, that becomes a bit of an issue.
That's when you got the family stand and stuff like that though as well. innit?
Yeah.
Like,
that as
if
well.
You, if
You,
you
can
wa-
still hear him from the family stand though.
yeah, but like
Parents just go.
if you don't want to swear over there, then that's fine.
I agree with
But,
that.
like,
I've been to some women's
at a
games though. I
football
think they're
match.
incredible atmospheres. Like, I went to the Women's World Cup in 2019. If you go to the USA game, it's a packed stadium.
Yeah,
And-
in America, yeah.
The atmosphere is like, it's incredible. It's like a carnival. So, but we're discussing women's football, and actually the discussion is only Aluko, right?
Yeah. I just thought I'd raise the point of if
I
you
get your
want
point.
the women's game to grow, you shouldn't censor it.
I agree with that.
You shouldn't make it softer. You should
agree with
make it just as big, right? Let everyone chant what they want. Obviously, not chant what they want within reason, of course. Jesus. But I just feel as though if you want it to grow and be as big as the men's game, you need to treat it like the men's game.
I agree with that. The other thing is, people should be able to chant whatever they want. I think you can at a football match. Like you should. I'm not saying like someone goes to the game and just be sexist.
But what he was chanting before this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
my
To be
God.
fair, you were disgusting.
I've got
You
a
was.
point though, haven't I? But I think you should be able to chant whatever you want, and I think sometimes I don't know why people patronise women so much.
I hear it.
I can find it a bit patronising to all women when people go, "Oh, we should be a bit softer."
Yeah.
It's a bit more of a family environment here, isn't
But
it?
my point is,
I was
if
at
you want it,
Anfield
yeah.
when we won the family atmosphere. You two don't acknowledge that. You need to bury your head in the sand. don't you?
Congratulations on your
Thank
second
you.
Premier League title ever.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
worries.
appreciate that.
Let us know when you got 13.
I will do. I'll come back in a couple of years and let you know. Yeah. Well, let us know when you get to 21, eh?
Next season.
Yeah, it won't be next season. That's not even on their roadmap. Even they've
Well,
gone. It's not happening next season. Project 2028. Here we go. Yeah.
Was winning the league.
What's
Yeah,
happening in the
he's a
intervening
foul.
years? Building up to it. So gotta get a run up, haven't you? You can't just start something from zero. Or you saying the club is at zero? Yes.
Did you expect to win the title this year?
Did you expect us to win the title this year?
No.
No. So it's a lovely surprise.
Really,
What's your
City
problem?
just let you win.
City let us
You
win.
won because City didn't.
What? Because you faked what injuries? What? You're saying you faked a medical?
What?
It's a line from The Office.
Yeah.
Are you genuinely saying that you think City let us win?
No, didn't let you win, obviously,
No,
but
but-
you won because City didn't.
So what you're saying is you think City are by default winning the league?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's because you can't remember anything before 5 years ago.
That's true. He supported Chelsea before that.
Yeah,
Oh.
literally.
It's embarrassing, mate. It is. It's embarrassing.
Every era there's a default team that win it, right? At one point it was United, then it became Chelsea. Before United it was probably Arsenal. Before Arsenal it was Liverpool. There was that
Liverpool,
Blackburn year, and there's been a couple of weird years. But every team's got their era. Let's see what happens after Guardiola, mate. I'm just saying.
No,
I don't want
I
to do
agree.
too much football chat. It's a bit boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's limited. So let's move on to the next news line.
What we're
that we've
saying
got here.
is, I also applaud people like Kenny Aluko because otherwise it's boring. Let her speak her mind. Just let. Why has everyone
is
got
she
to do
getting
this?
cancelled?
She did. She gets cancelled.
Yeah, but she's kind of about 8 times.
But I think, is it not interesting to have opinions in the game?
Yeah, but it's when it's not her opinion. It's when you're reading facts and then the facts are wrong. For example, the famous clip that everyone's seen is he's played 42 games, he scored 21 goals.
Goal a game.
If you do the maths, that's a goal a game.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
and it's stuff like that because she is a woman in the game. She'll get penalised for that heavily than if a bloke slipped up. And that's just the world we live in, unfortunately.
I agree.
She will get penalised. And people always will go back to that. It's 100%. So if you're going to do that, you have to make sure you get it right.
I agree. I also just don't attack Ian Wright. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I
She
agree.
does show a lack of strategy. Don't go for the big guy.
Yeah.
Go for someone like me. Like go for a little guy and go, why is a nobody getting on women's football stuff?
Yeah.
That should be
Or
what
on
happens.
The Tays and Ginge Austrian podcast.
I'd say steer clear of them because they're bad news, love. And also, don't let men call you love, all right? Because that's also a bit patronising.
Don't.
Is it? I was
No.
having this
Obviously
no,
not.
no,
Not,
no.
but-
I was having this conversation the other day.
No,
though.
don't get
If
me
Ginge-
started.
if
Don't
Ginge
get me
says it,
started.
I say
no.
love to everyone.
So do I.
But that's
don't get me
Yeah,
started.
colloquial, isn't it? That's
What?
local. Like
That's
everyone
yeah.
calls everyone love.
In Manchester, up north, it's a normal thing.
Yeah. Whereas if you come to London, it would be weird if it is a bit patronising if someone goes, all right, love.
Yeah, but I can imagine like a Cockney like, you alright, love? Do you know what I mean?
Don't piss me off, Lawrence.
Why is
How
it-
is it patronising if I go, oh, you okay, mate? It's the fucking same thing.
No, but what I mean is it's not colloquial. So it's not a local thing to London to say love in the same way. Like they'll use a different phrase.
Is
It's
it
a
not-
bit. It would be more like saying darling. And sometimes
What's wrong with saying darling?
Yeah, darling. Darling's a
Darling, I
little
wouldn't
bit-
say because it doesn't roll off the tongue.
no.
But
Also, my wife would go, "What are you calling her darling for?"
yeah, okay, I hear that. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't say like love is normal. It's in my opinion. If are you okay, love? All right, or are you all right, mate? It's the same thing.
But you'd probably say that maybe not to a man, but like you're not making a gender difference. You're just saying
With love, you
it's
are.
just default.
No, you would only say it to a woman, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but what I mean is you're not in your head thinking that's a woman, so I'll use the word love because it's patronising.
No, not 'cause
that's
it's
just the
patronising.
phrase you
Oh,
use
I'm
to a
gonna
woman.
fucking hit someone.
No, how can it be patronising? It
Gets angry quick, doesn't he?
No, it's because it's
his
just
name.
By
absolute
nature,
fucking
yeah.
woke nonsense.
Yeah,
woke
it is.
nonsense.
It definitely is. I think it's polite.
It's extremely polite.
Are you okay, love? You alright?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
polite.
I agree with that.
I've just grown up hearing that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's my point.
No, because you've the fact you've even considered it to be patronising. I don't get it.
But I have to, because other people, if someone else says to me that's patronising, I've got to reply to them. I can't just go, no, it isn't, love. That would be fucking horrific.
Do you think it would your
Off you
wife
pop.
be fuming at you if you said to a woman like, "You okay, love?"
The fact that I don't use the word regularly, I think she would think it was a bit weird.
Okay.
And it is, so she, obviously she's from Kosovo, but she's grown up in London, so she knows, she's not over here sort of 1 year, and she knows English stuff. I think some people would find that a bit unusual if they come from another country.
Yeah, okay.
But obviously also the people who are pulling you up in it, they're not coming from France and going, oi, why are you saying that? It tends to be people that know what you mean it as.
Suppose. Yeah.
I don't know. I find it all right. Like in Burton, where I grew up, everyone says duck. I don't know if
Duck,
you...
yeah.
Yeah.
We
So-
have cocker.
Yeah, can't.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, cocker.
Yeah. And obviously in Liverpool, they say la and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. And that's kind of... I think that's a shortening of love.
It might be, so you
Right, love.
you might
No,
have to say
lads,
that.
you said it to men.
Yeah, you can say it to whoever, but I mean, it's like, in a sense, it's the same as saying that. Do you know what I mean? I'm
All
not
right,
saying
okay.
it's a shortening of the word. I mean, it's like an abbreviation.
Anyway, our next headline that we have for the news is Dizzee Rascal reveals that he actually retrained as a plasterer during lockdown.
So in the notes, I thought they said pasta.
So did I.
Did you say pasta or plasterer? Oh, right, okay.
I thought it was pasta.
So did he forget the wrapping, or did he just...
Nah.
I think he went for a backup option.
Well, you think his first backup was plastering?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
As a
No, but what I mean is, like, he's got a lot of other things he could pick. And
Like
then he
what?
goes, well, you could pick a trade, mate. He could be a brickie if he wants.
Yeah, we chose to be a plasterer.
Does it say why? Or does it just say he did it?
Wanted to learn a new skill during lockdown.
Okay.
So he picked one, which means you got to go to other people's houses.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Didn't really work well in lockdown,
Didn't
does
work
it?
great.
Do you think it was just a humble PR stunt?
I think most things celebrities do are a humble PR stunt.
I think, though, if we all had to retrain as something else,
What would you be?
football manager.
Yeah, that's not exactly like a plasterer, though, is it? Like, think of something. The reason you could retrain as a football manager, if you're just a normal ginge
Yeah.
and you work at
Hamilton's.
no, but what I mean is like you don't have the wealth and the fame and all those things, right?
I actually can't stand you.
Yeah.
And the
millions.
collection of Rolexes that you keep at home, right?
You don't even wear them.
Doesn't even wear them. Just keeps them in a vault, and he says,
Investment, he says.
"That's for the future." He
Yeah.
just taps it, and I say, "Can I look inside?" And darkness just fills his eyes, and he goes, "Not right now, mate."
Do you know what he said to me the other day? He come out and say he had the box
Yeah.
in his gaff with all the watches in.
It's labelled "Do Not Touch."
Yeah, and he said he just tapped it like that and went, "My kids will have to work."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then
Yeah.
threw it away like that. Good on him, mate. Good on him.
I'm glad he's done that with you as well, because I thought it was just he was sort of, showing me what an alpha he was when I
He
was
was
in his
doing that.
house.
He definitely was that, but he did it with me as well.
And then he said, "Should we go to the other drawing room now?"
And then we got in a lift to go back down.
Do you know what's weird?
Stairs.
And the one thing he's not said, he actually got Dizzee Rascal to replaster his house last week. It's so fucking expensive because he also raps while he does it. He freestyles during the plastering. You have to pay him for a full album. It's like when Frank Ocean built the staircase.
So, what
If you
Sorry.
weren't on YouTube, have we tilted you? We tilted you a little bit.
No.
Have we,
We have.
Micah Richards you?
No.
We have.
Yeah, it's that.
So, if you had to retrain as a new job, what job would you retrain as?
It'd be something to do with sport. I'd say a PE teacher.
You would be a great PE teacher.
Yeah,
You've got the demeanour of a PE teacher.
Yeah.
What would your main sport be? Badminton, probably.
Ooh, main sport. Paddle.
Oh, paddle, the only thing that's come in the recent 2 years.
Just because John Terry does it doesn't mean you have to as
Does
well.
it? I'd smoke John Terry at paddle.
I think John Terry would actually be quite good at paddle. He's quite rangy.
What does that mean, rangy?
He's got long arms. He's limmy, so
Yeah,
he's quite
okay.
big. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? When at school, we had a new teacher who was Irish, and he was a PE teacher.
Who's the what, sorry?
He's Irish. He was our new PE teacher.
Oh, okay.
And he'd never played cricket in his whole life.
Well, that's not crazy.
But he was our PE teacher. I think you should. It's the same as
You
saying
should have a gander.
yeah, you should have a little look at the cricket
cricket.
manual before you start teaching it. And we said, "Don't worry, sir. We know about the pads. We'll put them on you." And we just covered him in pads.
That's
and
how
he
you know
just did it as if
he
it was
came
normal.
from a few quid.
I know,
Grew up
yeah.
playing cricket.
in high school.
Yeah, that's how you get. That is
Did you ever
mad.
play that?
Never in
we
my
had
life.
rounders. We had rounders. and it was
poles.
cones.
Yeah.
It was 3 poles.
Okay, fair enough.
And we just ran round. That's what we had. And you're there learning cricket.
Yeah.
You Tory
Wow.
prick.
Do you genuinely think cricket What do you think you need for cricket?
Well, you need stumps.
Yeah.
You need a bat.
Yeah.
You need a ball.
Yeah. Which of those is expensive?
No, we didn't play rounders with a ball. We just imagined it. We just, missed that one. He's
Yeah.
caught it. He's caught it. Next one.
Yeah.
And then, and the bats, we didn't even use bats.
Didn't even use bats.
No.
Sticks.
Yeah, yeah.
We was, sticks and leaves.
That you've found.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And actually, you roll some leaves up sometimes,
Yeah.
make them into a little ball.
Exactly.
With your spit.
Oh.
Would you say cricket is a Tory sport?
I would say it is, but I think in the Midlands specifically, it's not. It's just it's like this because obviously there's a lot of big cricket people in the Midlands,
Yeah. Okay.
What?
and
does
also
Midlands
our
like?
town was predominantly
Middle of the
Pakistani.
Yeah, but what parts of them?
What would you say the Midlands is? Just below Sheffield?
Yeah, I mean it's like Staffordshire, Leicestershire. I grew up there, so Derbyshire.
You grew up in Sheffield.
No, I worked in Sheffield for a year.
So do you know,
talk about my career later,
Kel
mate.
Brook?
Huh?
Do you know about Kel Brook?
Not anymore. It's the same as when I go abroad and someone goes, "Do you know the Queen?" Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
Oh. Maybe just take a moment to resignate and pay our respects to Elizabeth II.
Why would I resign over the Queen?
Pardon?
What?
The next part of the news segment is the woman that accused Prince Andrew of all that stuff.
Yeah,
She has now died.
yeah.
She was in a car crash.
Why didn't you cross your? Did it for the Queen. You're not going to do it for her.
My
Yeah.
apologies.
Yeah. So she was in
I
a
do.
car,
I do it like Kaka does it.
she was in a car crash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which she
They love doing it that way,
was
don't
in-
they? That is their number one technique.
So what he means by that is obviously the history with Princess Diana. It's a very big conspiracy.
Yeah, because it was in a tunnel with like no cameras and that one.
Yeah, it was a
They do that a lot as well.
yeah
Yeah.
So yeah, and then then she's survived this
the
miraculously,
car crash. Yeah,
but then killed herself.
I think there's definitely it's conspiracy in it, but it's also intriguing. You know, you accuse Prince Andrew of doing this, then years
Let your
later,
tongue go.
you got something to say?
Yes. Let your tongue go, Laurence.
That's no, I think I'd just be sweating on it if I said something, which is again something Andrew can't do. Bit of a
But
royalist,
yeah,
though,
I think it's very intriguing. All of a sudden, now the person that's accused him is now passed away.
It's funny how a lot of them die.
Don't
What?
I don't wanna lose you, mate. I don't wanna
Oh yeah,
lose
I'll
you.
just
Just don't get into it.
Because you're prominent as well.
What does that mean?
You're like, a lot of people know who you are. If you start running your mouth,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, let's just cut this bit from the podcast.
All right. Yeah.
Anyway,
do you like the Queen?
pardon?
Do you like the Queen?
Oh,
She's no longer here.
Do you like the royals?
It's a bit like if I met Prince William or Harry, I'd have a nice conversation. If I say hello, I hope you're all right. If I got an opportunity to go and meet the king, I'd probably pass on it.
Yeah, right. I think I'm probably the
Couldn't
same.
give a
If I was at
if
a
you could have met
barbecue,
the Queen, would you?
I would have liked to have met the Queen just because you've met the Queen.
I get
and-
that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And much more of the fact that she's our longest serving ever Queen, and I don't think anyone will ever
Yeah.
beat her.
It's just
I
the
agree
thing
with
you can
that.
say you don't. My nana, she's passed now. God bless her. She
Recently.
you need
Do
to
the-
stop doing
Do
that.
the cross thing. There you go.
used-
Yeah.
No, not recently. It was a couple of years ago. Every time I say
Sorry
it,
about
was
your loss.
that.
One
That's
nil God.
bad, that.
Yeah.
What did you say?
What?
What did you say?
I don't think he said. You just clearing your phone, weren't you?
Did you say
Clear.
1-0 God?
What?
Is that what you said?
It is 1-0. It is 1-0.
Why is it 1-0?
Because she's passed away.
She got a few over on my name.
She's ever. So anyway,
She was there.
no, she wasn't. But she got a letter off the Queen.
How old was she?
She wasn't over 100. She was like 80.
Well, what's the point in
Stop
that? Where's
sending me
the
all these
integrity?
Yeah, I
letters.
think she was like 90. But it was because she'd been married for like 75 years.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
That's mental.
Wait,
no.
so she wasn't 100, but she'd been married for 75
Oh no,
years?
no, it might not be 75. I don't know the
Hang
exact
on, let
number.
me do the math.
I
Let me
don't
do
know the
the
exact
math.
number, yeah, but it was because her wedding lined with the Queen's Jubilee. or
Right,
something.
okay. Yeah. That makes
Something
sense.
like that, and
Yeah.
she got a letter off the Queen.
But is it ever a letter off the Queen, or is it
No,
a
is
letter
it
typed out and she signed it?
She's not even signed it.
She never
No, she
signed
put
it.
Just a stamp.
She just signed once, and they defo copy all that.
Yeah.
It's a shame, innit? But enough about the royals and enough about the news. Let's speak about the royalty in this room. Ballers
like
League last
talking about
night, I got
myself.
fucking robbed.
You absolutely did.
I got fucking
You did.
robbed.
You did.
But no, I'm joking. Laurence, you have had what some might say an amazing career. They'd be wrong, but they've
Yeah.
said it. You've
They'd be
had a
liars.
long career.
Can I just say, last night when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about you two. I think
What?
you're
You was thinking
Well,
about us
why
last
is that in his
night.
hand? That's a bit weird.
You can't do it. Which one did you have it in? Which video was you watching?
Would have been my right. I think you're the funniest guy on YouTube right now.
I agree.
You're on a hot streak.
I agree. I don't like to stroke his ego. And
And
do you
yeah.
know the thing about him that you need to learn? He can't take compliments. So I've just stopped doing it now.
No,
if,
no.
if you like, you can't big him up in any way because he
No.
can't actually handle it.
Also, because if someone, it is hard when someone gives you a big compliment like that, because then there's a bit more pressure to keep being the funniest person on YouTube.
I don't understand how you managed to get to that.
Well, tell me someone who's funnier than you on YouTube. Thank you. Done.
Stephen tries.
And that was the point where I come.
Stephen tries.
You're a lot more, like, you're on YouTube a lot more than Stephen is. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I've worked with
Stephen
Stephen
tries
and he's hilarious. But I think Stephen's comedy is very different to your comedy on YouTube.
I just think it's a breath of fresh air, innit? YouTube's not seeing the actual northern banter type of thing.
I think YouTube's been great for the North.
Yeah,
It has.
it has.
It's bridged gaps.
I also think. Why? Why?
I can't think of someone who's died now.
From the north.
Yeah. On YouTube.
He's Nana 2 years ago.
Sad that.
Rest in peace.
Gone but not forgotten.
Lou.
Lou.
Nana Lou.
I like
She's
that.
called Louise.
That's a cute. Oh, Louise. Yeah, that's a cute name. Nana Lou.
Nana Lou.
That's a cute name.
You call her
that.
Nana?
Yeah, I didn't.
You call yours grandma?
No.
No,
Do
no,
you
no.
do that?
No.
But some people in Manchester still say like grandma. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I think grandma. Maybe if I think once you're past a certain age, you become a grandma. But I think if you're youngish, you're a nana.
It's
you know
like
what-
great nana is a grandma, innit?
Yeah.
I just call everyone nana.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find very weird? People who get to a certain age and still say mummy and daddy.
Yeah.
So I was around
happens.
a man the other day who said, I'm going to go see my daddy. And I remember thinking, that's really weird.
It is.
Heather says that all the time.
But my point, I think if you were still calling your mother and father mummy and daddy, I think you must have a ridiculous trust fund. So back to your career, Laurence. I grew up watching you on YouTube.
Really? You mean on
True Geordies,
Yeah, yeah.
etc.
Yeah,
when you were
same.
on cold comms.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with your face, I hated you on comms,
Yeah, I know. What do you mean on the boxing or on the football?
on the football.
On the Wembley Cup or
Yep.
the
Yeah.
What-
I used to
what
despise you
boxing?
on comms.
What
Yeah, I bet.
boxing did you come?
The first KSI Joe Weller and the first
Oh.
KSI Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people hate me on that as well. So
I probably did hate you on that as well.
probably.
Then, as I got older, I kind of understood you a bit more, and
Right.
I grew a liking to you. Having now met you, of course, I really do like you.
Okay, I thought
Right.
I was going to go the other way.
No, but speak to me about the start of your YouTube career. What were you doing before YouTube, and how you got into it?
Have either of you had normal jobs, by the way? You know, before
Yeah.
you started this?
I was
So
a mechanic for 6 weeks.
you weren't a mechanic, you were an apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was my dad's mate's place. And I was getting 20 quid a week to do it.
That's child
labour.
Yeah, child labour.
Yeah, but it was only
Yeah.
like a Saturday job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So he
Right,
worked,
so it
so he
wasn't-
worked 6 days. He worked 6 weeks.
Nah,
He worked 6 days.
I was working there for 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think-
it was once a week.
I think it was like-
for 2 hours
I
once
think
a
it-
week,
I
and I
think-
got 20 quid.
I think
Right,
I went
okay.
in like
was
8
this
times.
a job?
I think I went in like 8 times.
8
right?
times.
Okay.
But I fucked everything up. So I ended up like costing loads of money. I dropped all like the screws down the engine, spilt oil all over. So I got sacked.
Mate, no, I would adopt you that 20 quid and just
Yeah.
just call it quits. But the way that you sold it was, you're a fucking mechanic. So you came in
For
from
6
mechanic.
weeks.
Well, I was.
You
I
went to
was,
it.
huh?
Mate, by that, I'm a professional footballer. Because for 8 weeks on the weekend, I went and played at Hackney Marshes.
I used to like other stuff though. I used to like sell things.
Like what?
Oh, don't get into that. He used to sell some interesting things,
Yeah.
let me tell you. But he don't do it anymore. But
No.
he's changed man.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
did do
Yeah,
that.
because the rapping took off.
So anyway,
Medical.
back to
Yeah.
why did you ask if we'd ever had normal jobs?
Sorry, what was your job?
I worked in a
Butcher.
butcher.
Dinner
You
lady.
just look a bit like a butcher, and I don't know why.
Why would it have to be
You have the
something to do with
demeanour
food?
of a butcher.
You would be a good butcher.
Yeah,
I think I would be, yeah.
you do have the demeanour of some. Love, what can I get you? And she
So,
goes, "Don't call me love." You go, "We're in the north. I'll do what I want."
Oh, you'd be good in a pub.
You'd be a great landlord.
Yeah, it would,
Honestly,
wouldn't it?
if you let me name where I've worked,
Oh,
you don't have to guess. I've worked behind the bar at a rugby stadium. Shout out AJ Bell and Salford Reds Devils.
So by his standards, you owned a pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worked at the kiosk there. I was a runner / waiter there
You
as
definitely
well.
want running though.
He's not always been this big. What?
He was bigger.
What are you doing that for?
I was also a dinner lady at primary school.
You were a dinner lady.
A dinner man, but if I'd have said dinner man, what's a dinner man? I go, oh, it's a dinner lady.
Okay.
Easier to say.
Did you used to dress up like Mrs. Doubtfire? Like you come out
Yeah,
with
what
like
did you wear? What did you wear? Have you got a picture? Have you got a picture of you?
No, I don't have a picture. I wear my normal
Why would he
clothes.
take a picture?
Yeah.
Why would he take a picture of him
Put
standing
your
in a
food
fucking
back.
playground?
Put your food back. Just gonna take a selfie. No, stop eating your food. Stop eating.
Why would he take a picture of him standing in the playground?
No, but you're right, your mum
take a
might-
picture of me being a dinner lady.
Your mum
Like-
might have took a picture like, oh, his first day of work.
yeah, okay.
Them
fair
ones.
enough.
Yeah, I was a dinner lady, and then I worked in a warehouse as well.
What did you do in the warehouse?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Dismembered bodies.
No, there's jam jars.
Fucking hell. You were responsible for filming a series of One Man, One Jar.
Yeah, I
So-
worked in a warehouse.
So you worked in a warehouse. How long did you do all those things for? And were you streaming while you did them? Or
No,
like-
so I worked in the warehouse for about 3-4 weeks.
Okay.
But then I had to genuinely quit because of my mental health. It was absolutely awful.
Wow.
Then I did a lady for about 8 months, but then my streaming took off, so I quit. And I actually was gonna quit in November, but they were understaffed, so I stayed until December. And I didn't even get a thank you off the head teacher.
Wow.
And that shows why teachers feel so unappreciated, because I was just doing an hour and a half a day to being a dinner lady.
Yeah.
And if I'm staying on to help you out, and the least you could do is give me a Christmas card.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Head teachers can be quite unappreciative
Yeah, I hear that.
in general.
Why was everyone scared of him?
Because they're the highest,
Head
the
of the
highest.
school, yeah.
Makes sense.
And then my
Profound.
kiosk, and I got my first job when I was 16 behind the kiosk. I might have been 15, serving pints, giving food out, waitering, and I was doing that for about 2 years, maybe a year and a half.
Oh, okay. So you've had quite a few jobs then,
Yeah.
working with the general public.
This guy.
No, it's true though. Like, I think there are jobs where you work in an office, and then there are jobs where you're interacting with the general public, and you'll have different, experiences.
Yeah, I hear that.
I worked in a restaurant
Nice.
one
you
day a
look
week.
like you like.
So I owned a restaurant.
You like
by his
you'd
standards.
work in an Italian restaurant.
A little bit, but it was actually it was at a local like cafe, and then we kind of added food.
I can imagine you in like a chef's outfit, me.
Me too, actually. I'd love to be a chef.
Joe, you look a little bit like. I've only just realised Joe from You.
I don't know who that is.
Have I
Joe
got
from
Bring it
You.
up on the screen, Lara. Yeah, he's much better looking than me.
Yeah, I think
and-
you've done Joe a disjustice.
Yeah, I'd say
Nah,
Joe's probably about 2 stone lighter than me, mate.
No,
And the rest.
Uh,
yeah.
the Ozempic,
if
the
you-
Ozempic hasn't worked on me
If you
yet.
hit the Ozempics, yeah,
Yeah.
I could see it.
He's also got no facial hair, and his hair is completely different.
And he's really good looking.
And I
So
could probably
tick,
get along
tick,
with
tick.
him. Yeah, probably not. Lance.
Yeah, I didn't picture him like that.
No. You normally do it off memory, don't you?
Yeah.
So did that. I worked in Phones for You.
No. Oh, I just remember if I was for you.
And everyone would come
What
in
was
and go,
it? Oh,
and they do that.
phones for
For you,
you.
for less. And then you'd have to go, do you want a fucking phone or not? Like, do you actually want one? They go, no, just came in to do that.
Is HMV still a thing?
No, shut down.
I think there's like one
In
left.
that sad though, because
Yeah.
of how the world's changed, they just went out of fucking.
Now, just bear with me one moment. When was the last time you bought a CD in person?
How are you trying to support the industry?
When was the last time you
Actually,
bought a video
this
game
year.
in person?
What, you bought a CD?
Yeah, I bought.
What would you have played it in?
Probably his own because no one else is fucking buying it.
Can I get 1,000 of that Tays? Yeah. 12 bottles of bleach flu.
it was.
He went in as Tays, as Ginge.
It was a
IRA
Biggie
boys.
Smalls like vinyl thing, like that you don't open it.
Yeah.
You just fucking leave it.
Whose
there.
was it?
Biggie Smalls.
All right, fair enough. I don't think you're supporting an entire industry by one
Yeah.
one record a year, but
No, yeah, of course. It's just sad the way it's gone, innit?
It is.
imagine though, I don't know whether HMV could have pivoted maybe and sort of been like a cafe and a record store, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if they'd have become like the Urban Outfitters of music, they could have maybe done something about it, but
They
they
could have
didn't.
just went digital.
I think it's hard to go digital when Apple exists.
That is also true.
That's
Yeah,
what-
but you're saying
Make a bit of
HMV
noise,
should
they'll buy
have,
you.
HMV should have just whacked a cafe in the store, and it'd have been all
You just
right.
wanted
Would have
another
had me
job.
in there.
You wanted to- yeah.
I was a DJ when I was younger. So I used to have a set of decks when I was a kid. And I badly wanted to be like a Radio 1 DJ. Radio 1's not as cool anymore. But back in the day,
Yeah.
it was like the thing. Like everyone wanted to have the breakfast show on Radio 1.
Yeah.
There's someone called Chris Moyles who was like big.
I remember Chris.
Everyone loves Chris Moyles. And so I used to DJ people's like parties, and I had a bunch of records, and I know how to mix, and like I used to, yeah.
What was your first involvement in YouTube or socials as a whole?
I finished uni and I applied to Copper 90, Ball Street, a bunch of YouTube channels, and basically became an editor director for them.
Oh, okay, nice. And so how did you end up becoming this Laurence, Lozcast, Loza?
Infamous.
Yeah.
I also started to try and present for YouTube channels.
Oh, how did that go?
Pretty well, actually, at the time.
surprising.
I was on something called Football Daily, which was a football channel back then.
I've heard of that.
It's now been bought by Sky.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I was on something called the Football Republic. Are you guys old enough to remember that?
So you're
No.
a big football fan?
Yeah. Since I was a kid, I've been a big Liverpool fan. I think as a kid, like you're not back then.
How do you get
really,
there?
What do you mean?
How do you,
To like in football?
from Sheffield,
Yeah.
near Sheffield, end up a Liverpool fan?
As a glory hunter. Can you not tell by the
Yeah.
accent?
So my dad is from Liverpool. I was born in Liverpool, and we.
He was born in the Midlands a minute ago. Do you know what I mean? Six
I
of
said
one
it.
fucking
I
story.
grew up in the Midlands,
Oh
mate.
my
Listen,
God.
clothhead. So I grew up in the Midlands and moved away from Liverpool because my dad got a job there.
Couldn't have loved it.
So I had a Scouse accent when I was like 4. I remember having a babysitter and they were making fun of my accent and I cried myself to sleep.
Oh,
Did
Yeah.
you ever have a babysitter?
Did you have a babysitter? You must have had a babysitter.
no.
Jin, you don't look like the kind of person who would have a babysitter.
I'll tell you, I'll be honest, my babysitter was the police.
What? What? Stink?
No, so when I was in my dad's car and he got pulled over for drunk driving and the police dropped me off home.
Fuck off.
No.
Well, yeah, it's a normal thing that happens. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the closest I've ever had to a babysitter. They're expensive. We're not having them. Are you mad?
Yeah,
My
I've
dad was a
never had
teacher, so we
babysitter.
just had like a bunch of kids from his school who do it. Yeah. Anyway, that's boring.
So what was your first involvement with, of course, True Geordie? Would you say True Geordie gave you your platform? Or did you have one before True Geordie?
Well, so I was a presenter on the Football Republic.
Yeah.
And then what used to happen was we would do like a Skype. Do you know what Skype
Yeah.
is?
Oh my
Oh,
God,
God, yeah,
Skype.
do you remember Skype?
We'd all sit on Skype with like an earphone in and do debates and then like record those.
Right.
And beforehand, True Geordie and I would be chatting before the cameras would be on, or they'd be like setting them up. And we'd just be making each other crack up about, because we both love Ricky Gervais in The Office back then.
Yeah.
And we'd just be throwing jokes in. And so one day he just called me and says, well, you know, we get on, we got good chemistry. Do you want to do a podcast together? And so we did that. And then that, because of his big platform at the time, it was the podcast. Like there was no one else really doing it.
So why did he have a platform at that time? What was he doing before that?
Similar to what most people, so do you know, most people just reviewing matches or sort of,
Yeah.
he had
Oh,
a big
okay.
moment where there was a footballer, they did something, he reacted to it and it went viral. But then off the back of that, a lot of people saw him as a very genuine sort of like just opinionated football fan. And to be fair to him, he was, you know, he's quite a big voice for football back then.
Yeah, he was. And he also did stunts in YouTube, like he performed. He was involved in Wembley Cups.
He was.
Did videos with the F2, Stephen Tries. He had your football team, which was called
XOFC.
XOFC.
So that came off the back of all of this.
Yeah.
So then we started the kickoff. So we were doing a show where it would be, we'd cover the last 5 minutes of football on like a Saturday. So at like 4:45, we'd go live. And then we went, really, we could sit and do this as like a whole live show.
Yeah.
And then we did that, and that's where the kickoff, which was that was the first real big football live stream. That's where that came from. And then we built that. And we made a business out of that. And then we made XO, and then we made a bunch of other things as well. We made
So going back to XO, of course you were involved in the Wembley Cup.
Yeah.
I have to ask about your famous game
Yeah.
where you defeated the F2.
Yeah.
But obviously it wasn't live streamed, so there's a lot edited out of that. Then Spencer came out and told us what went on.
Yeah.
You were there on the day?
I was very in the middle of it.
Was you? Well,
Yeah.
explain to me what went on and, just take me away because I'm very intrigued.
Before we start all this, I like Billy a lot. I think Billy's a lovely guy.
No, we all like Billy.
yeah.
We've met Billy. I've never met Jezza.
Jeremy was always lovely to me, but
Right.
he wasn't always as pleasant to everyone else. And he was pleasant to True Geordie and I, Brian. And then with Stephen, he was very unpleasant. And then with Will, I don't really think they ever really spoke.
So,
Right.
sorry, is this the clip that happened where
Yeah.
True Geordie butted in and was like,
No, no.
So that's what that led
This
to.
this
Right,
is what
okay.
basically causes that.
all right, okay.
We were at our absolute, what I describe as like peak at the time. So we were doing a podcast. It would get like 1 to 2 million views a pod. Like it was just big. We were
Yeah.
getting like Ricky Gervais, Louis Theroux, all these massive names on, Tyson Fury. Like these people would want to be on the pod. And XO was like popping off. It was like, it was a great time for us, right? And then we got invited to be in the Wembley Cup, and it was all these teams competing against each other. So there was like a round robin where everyone plays each other. And then we had to play the F2 first. And we were essentially just a group of lads who we were just having a laugh and making videos around football. They were taking it very seriously. They had like Callum Best and a bunch of ringers, and like, it was really serious for them because obviously their reputation was on the
Yeah,
line.
of course.
So we get there on the day, and I think we obviously as the group, we probably had what I would describe as like a similar approach to you, where we were kind of taking the piss with it, but we knew we were all right as a group because we had some guys who played Sunday League and stuff like that. So when we get on the field to play before the big Wembley Cup, we're just really defensive, counter-attack, and what happens? We get a free kick down the other end, and it sails in. So we're 1-0 up against the F2, which at the time is like massive.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's like United winning a game now.
Yeah. It's like that, right? And they were not happy about it. And we just sat on that lead. Then there was a thing around the referee blew the whistle too early or something.
And that's what kicked it all off.
And it all kicked off. And these guys were going, there's a conspiracy. You got the whistle blown early. Spencer fixed it. Like it's fixed against us. No one wants us to win. All this kind of stuff. And then they refused to continue the tournament unless the match was overturned and we replayed the whole game.
Whole game.
Anyway, it was. No, I'm not joking. Like it was
When you
very
say
aggressive.
they,
Billy and Jez. So
they both-
mainly Jez, but Billy couldn't. Maybe similar to the relationship that True Geordie and I had, where it was like if he says something, obviously the other guy will go along with it, and vice
right?
versa.
Okay.
It became weirdly they didn't like Spencer, so they wouldn't talk to him. And Spencer was a very reasonable guy, always with us. And
Agreed.
Spencer's a good mate, so he's always been very reasonable with the way we've dealt with him. And so I end up in a room with them, just going, guys, what are we going to do? Like, we're not going to.
And this is all off camera.
This is all off camera. The camera's gone off. Producers are in the room. There's two very nervous producers because bear in mind, Billy and Jez are like massive
They were
talent.
super. They
it's
are
a-
superstars.
It's not like having speed, but it's like having KSI at the time, I think.
Yeah,
Or like
100%.
they're as big as JJ in the
massive,
football
yeah.
world at that point.
Agreed.
Not as like personality wise, but like just size, right? So having them is massive, and there's a brand involved. So anyway, I end up negotiating with them one-on-one with our producer, and we just say, look, we're not going to replay the game, but I basically said to them, it's going to look terrible on you if the normal guys beat you and then you turn around and go, that's terrible. It's just unsportsmanlike. So we basically convinced them to kind of approve the result.
Yep.
And it was just really vicious and nasty the whole time off camera.
Interesting.
And then at Wembley, one of their guys, they beat us in a match. One of their guys comes over and says to Stephen Tries, I'll shank you.
Sorry?
So there was a guy who came over at the Wembley Cup
Yeah.
and said, Stephen, I'll shank you. So Stephen turns, so we're all just, we've lost 1-0
Yeah.
at Wembley. So we're just,
Enjoying the
doing the
moment.
football
Yeah.
thing, pretending to be football. I'm shit at football.
Yeah.
And
I'm podcast apparently.
yeah, it's a monologue. So Stephen turns to me and he goes, this guy just said he's going to shank me. Obviously, Stephen said it, so I thought it was a joke. So I laugh at him and go, mate, we're on the pitch at Wembley. Like, what are you talking about? That's mental. And he goes, I'll do you too. And then his manager comes over and puts his arm across me and goes, "You don't want it, mate." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, this is crazy. What, in front of all these mum and kids at Wembley? You're going to shank me?" And there's a famous shot of me walking away from him and he's over someone's shoulder, like
Giving it.
And then afterwards,
Who was it? Do you know?
His name was Man Like Hacks.
Oh, I know exactly what about.
So he was a very funny comedian at the time. I don't know what he does now. But then we had a little falling out and it became...
So Man Like Hacks on Wembley threatened to stab you and Stephen.
Yeah. Not that I think he would have. But,
No, obviously not, but it's the principle, isn't it, really?
but it was also because we'd been winding them up for ages.
Yeah,
So
but that's
we've been-
part of football.
That's part of the game.
Because when you win, when you beat them 1-0, you could tell that they're going to be pissed off, but you have to take the piss. It's like SDS and myself and Ballers League.
Yeah.
You have to take the piss because it's football. It
Right.
helps. It's funny.
And also, the week before that, Jeremy had released a video where he dressed up as Batman, driven to the centre of London, and recorded a rap love song for his girlfriend. And then they recorded it in the middle of the night in central London. We, at the time, did something called True News. It's like a moth to a flame for us.
Yeah.
I'm going straight for that because
100%.
we're the guys who take the piss on YouTube.
Yeah.
Don't give us more. Do you know what I mean? So I know there's probably going to be a lot of people who don't care about this, but like, we just wound them up and wound them up and wound them up.
Yep.
And I sort of feel bad for it now. I regret.
Oh, no.
Not like I go, God, I wish I could have done it differently going back.
Oh.
But obviously, things didn't end so well with True Geordie. And I think, over time, when you build up enough enemies, then no one comes to help you if something bad happens to you.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
But I like Billy.
Busy. No, I love Billy. I
Billy's-
absolutely love him.
He's a stand-up, lovely
He's
guy.
such a nice guy. I think to get him on the pod would be good.
He'd be lovely, and he'd have some interesting stories.
Yeah,
We grew up
100%.
watching people like that.
Yeah. And unfortunately, yeah.
You were watching True Geordie though. I was just there, right?
No, I'd say anyone on the XO team I grew up watching. So, is there anything you'd tweak differently about what you did when you had your time on YouTube, etc.?
Yeah, I'd leave True Geordie sooner.
Really?
Not because we didn't get along,
Yeah.
and not because I didn't like him, but because the mission started out as, help in my mind, help him build it as big as possible, and hopefully I'll be really going up with him.
Yep.
And then I can do my own thing, and he can do his own thing, and we can just do stuff in between.
Yep.
But because stuff went wrong along the way and cancellations happened and stuff like that, I don't think people realize how big the True Geordie brand was at one point. Like it was absolutely.
It was massive.
If people said to
Podcast
me,
as well.
True Geordie, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, right, he was like 100%. Obviously, until recent events, like if you said, "What's that thing where you got the 4 faces?"
Yeah.
he's probably up there.
I think that's my point. Is he doesn't get the flowers because
The mountain thing.
Yeah. What's it called? The mountain with the 4
Mount
faces.
Rushmore.
That's
Mount
one. Yeah.
Rushmore.
He True Geordie was one of the YouTube OGs.
So I don't know Brian anymore because people aren't going to be interested in this. When he made the comments about Islam and I was next to him and it all cracked off, our relationship just wasn't in a point where we could have gotten through that together. I just had a kid 3 months before it. Well, my wife had, and we'd had a new kid. And our relationship had become quite strained. And I think part of the reason that we got to that stressful point where he was making strange comments on camera, should we say, was because there was a lot of stress around the business at the time, just keeping it going. And you know what it's like. There's a lot of pressure to deliver a brand deal before this date and to do this. And as easy as that seems, I think the thing that people don't know about YouTube is, and you probably have this, is like, sometimes you can't just switch it on and be like, right, we're going to be funny today. Or, if someone's got something personal going on in their life, you can't just...
Gotta go and have a smile on your
You
face
want to go
and
to the
laugh
gym
about
or
it,
you want to try and get it out somehow. And we just weren't looking after ourselves. And then all that cracked off and we were just not in a position to make it through. And in a way, and it kind of got to a point where he was he didn't say it specifically to me, but it was sort of like, everyone else had gone off and made their own thing. They've made their own business off the back of that. And I felt not obliged, but I felt loyal to a friend that I knew didn't mean to cause the harm, but at the same time wasn't helping us to stop it. And so...
What do you mean by not helping you to stop it?
we all disagreed on how to deal with it, and because
Is this after he's made the comment?
just after he's made
So
the
he's
comment,
made the comment. You've
Yeah.
said what you've said on live stream. Did you continue the stream after he said?
yeah, because we at that point we've gotten in we had got in trouble a few times for these were smaller streams,
Yep.
which probably you now do on a weekly basis, where it's like it's just your core audience
Yep.
of people who are just there, and whatever you say, you're relatively safe because the people in the room know the context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the second that you take that off stream, you give it to a brand new audience and they don't know whether someone's
concept.
joking
Yeah,
or then they'll go, that's this, that's that, that's this.
100%.
And that happened a few times to us.
Yep.
Where people deliberately, I'm not saying the Muslim comments were taken out of context, they were poorly judged, but did it need to go that far? Did you need to be fully cancelled? Did you need to basically be thrown to the lions or whatever it was? I don't think so. That's not
Right.
me saying, I'm also not saying therefore forgive everything. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I hear that.
You can do both. I was, when I first left,
How long after did you leave?
it took about 6 weeks. And then I'll be honest, like neither of us were really in the headspace. The World Cup happened straight after it.
Right.
And so I agreed to go and do some streams with him because no
Okay.
one else would.
Yep.
I think like
And is that due to loyalty, or did you kind of sympathise with him, or
both.
both?
Yeah, both. And we were, it was just, he was not in a good place. I was obviously not in a good place at all. I had
Yep.
people coming to near where my house was and saying, I'm in your area, come fight me. I'm going to like beat you up if you come outside your house.
Yeah.
And I messaged some of these people back and said, okay, let's go meet up. And if after 10 minutes we've spoken and you still want to scrap, then we'll just do whatever. And obviously that never came to happen because everyone sort of goes, well, I didn't expect a response.
Yeah.
But I had my hood up when I was going shopping. Bear in mind, I got a young family and they're just going, well, shit. Like my wife was getting abused. There were people photoshopping pictures. I know it might be banter for some people. Photoshopping pictures of my grandma burning in hell. Like that is
Nice.
dark stuff.
Yeah.
And on top of that, my entire income had just gone.
Yeah.
And no one would touch me because it was like, you're fucking radioactive from
Yeah.
being around this guy. And because I didn't publicly come out and go, oh, you're racist or whatever you want to call it, no one would do anything with me. And I didn't want to throw him under the bus because I didn't think it was fair. But I was encouraged at the time, obviously, loads of people going, what you should do is put out a statement, say, I don't agree with any of this. It's a serial, blah, blah, blah. But you know this, like you build up loyalties and
Yep.
you understand more context and there's stuff you can't talk about or stuff you don't want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But normal people who have a normal jobs can never work out what it's like to have hundreds of thousands of people either saying you're amazing or you're the worst thing that ever happened, you should kill yourself, which is
Yeah.
what happened for us at the time.
So going back to the comment of he didn't help it.
Yeah.
How didn't he help it? What were you saying he should have done? What didn't he do?
Immediate. So here's the big problem. It didn't, that night when the comment was made on live stream, it didn't instantly catch fire.
Right.
It wasn't like, because it was such a small stream, and then I think someone
When you
went,
say small stream, how many was watching?
about 5,000-6,000 people.
Right.
But bear in mind, at the time for us, that was quite small.
I'd like
Yeah.
to have a small stream. What?
So, but when we were doing well, it was probably about 30,000 people.
Is this on Twitch as well?
Yeah.
That's
We were
mental.
doing very well on Twitch.
For a podcast, that is crazy.
That is nuts.
It was just us watching the football.
Yeah, it's
Right, okay,
crazy.
interesting.
I think we were watching like a Chelsea game. And obviously, it was Chelsea like Genk or someone like that.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go off. And I think we were just taking comments from people in the chat. And it was kind of like, a joke that maybe you make between, would we have made that joke off camera? Probably not, but it catches you off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's your mate, you go, I know you don't really think that.
Yeah.
And you can see the reaction in the moment. And you can see me kind of going, oh, I get it. But some people watching this might not.
100%.
Did you clock straight away like?
We had to be honest, we didn't have a good relationship at that time, Brian and I. We were very loyal to each other, but we did not off camera have a great relationship. There was a lot of tension between us because I just had a kid and I was split between looking after kids with my
Yep.
wife and a job where we needed to be very dedicated. And he was trying to be understanding, but it was difficult.
Okay.
And so I didn't have the money in the bank to be able to challenge him and for it not to maybe off camera then go, what the hell? Why did you do that? And it's easy on stream. So what happened afterwards, I went to a number of like events and stuff, and everyone at all these events has got this idea of, well, I'd have just said, I'd have just gone, mate, that's completely unacceptable. Why are you saying that on camera? And everyone thinks they know exactly what they'd say in the moment when you hear something. But it doesn't happen like that in the moment. You're not in that mind space. And then he just said, I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologize because I didn't mean it like that. And so we were saying, we can't say that. Like, we've got to go out and do this. And then we recorded a longer podcast. Somehow I went home after recording the podcast, and I went, obviously my kid was young, and then that podcast got edited down, and we took a load of stuff out that should have been left in. It went out, and then loads of people were like, well, he doesn't really mean this, sorry. And the chance at redemption was gone. So, and that's how quick that's how quick it happens. And then brands won't touch you.
Do you think it's just, obviously that shouldn't have been said, but do you think the whole cancellation thing, people just want to jump at you whenever they can, innit? The littlest chance possible.
So it goes, also, people don't understand, I understand cancellation at all. Like, if your name's trending on Twitter, half of it might be people saying, I get what he means. And half of it might be people going, I hate this person. But a brand isn't going to go on Twitter and go, let's see how many people here like that guy. They just see, I'm never going to buy your product again. I'm never going to do this. And that's obviously not the most important thing. The most important thing is some people might have been upset by the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously. But in context, you know, when someone then goes, I'm sorry, I didn't know what I was saying. I just thought I was saying that. Generally, you'll go, okay, you were ignorant. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, when you say people were upset, what did your wife make of the comments?
Good question. So she's Muslim.
Yep.
Is the context. So she knew Brian relatively well. She was obviously upset at the fact that it had gotten that big and that we weren't dealing with it in a good way.
Okay.
Because it was our family that was at risk. That was the... she didn't have any problem with him personally because she knows his heart, if that makes sense.
Yep.
She didn't know him really well, but she didn't go, oh, you can never work with him again. He's the worst person in the world.
Yep.
She just knows there's context around everything.
Was she angry with you because of the way you was dealing with it?
She wasn't angry with me, but like, if how can I put it? In a marriage, you'll always have a point where like you've fucked up at some point,
Of course.
and that other person goes, "This is big. Like I can't help but be angry with you about this."
Yeah.
But it's not like she was angry with me. But yeah, I think she was
angry at the situation.
She was angry at the situation, and I think she knew the threat and she saw how low it went after that. That was low. If you look at, I don't know, just being cancelled. I've been cancelled for stupid comments which were taken out of context, and it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're always like one. Yeah, sorry, you say.
When you say you got cancelled, what do you mean by that? Because no, I don't know what comments you're going on about, but I feel as though cancellation is always dependent on you as well.
Right.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Would you want this? I've told this story before, but I don't think I've ever done it in detail. We've not got long on the podcast either. Do a bit of monologue in it.
Yeah, but go on.
There was a charity live stream, and beforehand, when they were arranging it, there were a couple of people who were organising it who were contacting absolutely everyone in the football space. I've been asked to take part in it, either commentate or be on the field.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever going to play because I'm not good enough to play that. I can play 5-a-side, but I'm not an 11-side player. I'm just not good enough.
Yep.
But everyone in that group was sort of a bit annoyed by how often we were getting contacted about being in the game, and it felt a little bit as if the people who were organising it were looking to exploit the fame around us and use it to build their own profile rather than everything else.
Charity, yeah.
That's not to say that the person at the centre of the charity, who was a 16-year-old kid whose father had passed away, didn't have valid feelings or that he was trying to use it in that way. I don't think that was him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in the group, of a lot of YouTubers, basically the biggest people on YouTube, quite a few people are just sort of sharing their frustration and sort of saying, I'm doing it, but I'm not thrilled about it. What do you guys think?
Yep.
And then it happened, and obviously we weren't doing it. We were working that day anyway, and like, you know, on the weekend it's hard to do it when you cover football. You know this, like you've got football commitments. But we did a small subscribers live stream the next day. It wasn't subscribers only, but it was like, you know, you knew it was the core people. And they went, what do you think of the charity game? And we went, a load of our mates are playing in it. Let's watch it back and we'll just take the piss out of them, or, you know, just make comments as we go. So then we start watching it, and I'm obviously like, you know, I feel like you and I have a relatively similar sense of humor, or we get like the dark side of it. I think you're a lot funnier than I am, but like, you know, we have relatively similar sense of humor. We'll say something dark and expect people to get it. I was saying the grade's a bit off, or like that camera's not in the right place, or like, why is that guy wearing that suit? And just firing off jokes that like some of them might become over a bit callous or careless, but there was no malice behind it.
Yep.
And I didn't know what the charity was for at that point, or like I wasn't sure. I hadn't really looked into that context. And what I didn't know was there are a bunch of YouTubers who'd taken part in that game, watching that live stream, and were angry about some of the jokes.
Okay. I think I remember something like this, actually.
Then we finished that live stream. Couple of jokes. A few people in the chat were like, oh, you're being quite harsh. And I was like, yeah, but then a few people were also like, just Laurence just making jokes. Like, chill out. Like, he clearly doesn't mean it. And we kept saying to them during the stream, go donate to the charity. And it was pushing up people's donations. So we were like, cool, like chill.
Yep.
People are donating to a charity. And we donated money afterwards, anonymously. I've never said that before. And then the two guys that organized it went on JaackMate's podcast.
And then went at you.
And I didn't know at the time that JaackMaate and I had quite a big problem behind the scenes off camera.
Right.
And I still don't know why.
And also, it was like a one-sided problem.
Well, I don't know. We've literally never been able to speak about it, because here's how it popped off. In the stream, everyone who came on, there were no name straps.
Right.
So I didn't know who anyone was.
Yeah.
There was Morgs, there was a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And anyone who came on camera, I'd go, who the hell's that? We don't know who this is, as a joke. And I made fun of a couple of people. I made fun of Rocket from Soccer AM. I jokingly, and I'm sorry for this, Rocket, said, oh, I think he's still relevant, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. As a joke. Sometimes the funniest thing to say is mean.
Yep.
And it was a joke. And Jack clipped up every time that I've made a mean joke.
Put it all together.
Clipped out all the parts where we'd gone, obviously it's charity, go and do this, or laughing in between. And when these guys came on the podcast, went, what do you think about Laurence's comments? And they went, oh, they didn't know until he'd given the context. Or they knew, but they didn't, care. And then he went through every one back to back, going, here's how Laurence means this specific joke. I was on holiday for our first family holiday to my wife's homeland. Kosovo is not very well connected in terms of 4G, Wi-Fi. And sometimes there were like blackouts back then.
Yeah.
When this video came out, I went, oh, well, he's done that. But at the start he goes, he's a mate. So, and I thought, well, a mate would call someone. They wouldn't do it in public. Do you know what I mean? And so I jokingly tweeted, thanks, Jack. You've checked me. And I didn't know how big it was going to be. Blackout, no 4G for a few hours. Come back online, and it's just, you're the worst person. Why do you hate charity? Why do you hate... Well, the biggest one was, why do you hate small creators? Why are you making fun of them?
Yeah.
Another and it was kind of coordinated amongst Jack and I think like, I think Bambino Becky's lovely, but she said some stuff at the time, and a couple of other people said some like really quite mean stuff, I guess, back. I don't know if it's justified or not. And it felt like a bit of a like, right, let's check this guy because we're not happy with what he said. But it was like a coordinated push. And they said I was True Geordie's bitch. They said I was no better than Stevie White, who was another guy on Jack's podcast.
I know Stevie.
Yeah, Stevie's a nice guy.
Very nice.
But he was very, very mean to me at that time, like really viciously mean, as was Jack. And I'm sure Jack has a reason why, but I didn't understand the context. And then they said, you're irrelevant, which was also funny because it was one of the biggest videos that had been on the channel at the time. But that's irrelevant.
My point here is, obviously Jack started YouTube by being this mean character where he took the piss. So maybe has he linked back to his old character to do that to you?
Well, so Jack had moved on and Jack and I always had a relationship. And obviously I can't speculate. He's not here to reply for himself. And I remember at the time having like quite a extreme response to it. And I did message him like, this is crazy, man. Like, what's going on? And he called me, you know, a twat or whatever and said, I just don't like you. You deserve this. And the thing that really got me at the time was Jack edited the video. And he says in the video, we're friends. Released the video, didn't tell me the video was coming out, promoted the video, and then live streamed. He never live streams at that time. When the video came out, to watch the reaction and to speak about and to add context to all of it so that it would be received in the way that he wanted it to.
Right, okay.
And that to me felt quite coordinated and mean.
Okay.
And I never understood it, and I still can't. I said to Jack multiple times afterwards, let's go for a drink. He used to record in a studio really close to me. We couldn't go for it. He said, no, I don't like you, blah, blah, blah. At one point he said to me, let's box on Misfits. And I was like, yeah, cool. So we just never really resolved it.
Yeah.
And
Is it still like that now?
Still like that now. But even now, below my videos, because the video's on like 800,000 views, right? Someone at YouTube messaged me and said, you know, we can block this video if you want us to. You can stop it from being up on YouTube. And I said, but if I do that, it looks like I'm trying to hide it and censor Jack. But even now, I get people below everything. Yeah. You hate charity. You hate small creators.
Would you be up for resolving it? Would you have a conversation with him?
Absolutely. But so much water's gone under the bridge. I don't understand. I'd love to chat to him. I'd love to know why he did it. On his podcast forever. And I don't know why he won't speak to me. So I'm sure he's got a good reason. I'm sure there's a reason where I've taken a joke too far or something like that. But even then, I just think mates just talk.
Yeah, I hear that.
And was you mates before this?
I thought so.
He thought so.
I think we were at one point, but I think
you'd go out for drinks or whatever and stuff.
Yeah, we'd have gone out. Like we were on the podcast and stuff together. But I think it's a different generation now. You guys all rip the shit out of each other now.
But back then, it wasn't common.
It was a bit different.
Yeah,
it was a bit to be mean and
what we
edgy.
get away with about each other's mums.
Never get away with that back then.
Never 100%.
True Geordie back then didn't say anything as mean as you guys say, and people would go, "Oh, he's a bit edgy." That was that.
Yeah, maybe it helps because we laugh it off.
It helps when you're all very specific. Yeah, you guys actually know each other.
Yeah.
But that also led to people just being like, brands dropped me. It was a bad time for that to happen. And I was away for the next week, so I couldn't respond.
Yeah.
And then when I got back, we had a friend who knew Jack who said, heads up, Jack has told us if you respond, here's what he's going to do. And so we went, we just don't want to get into that. But it meant that everyone just got to say whatever they wanted about me for years.
So this has happened.
Yeah.
You had to deal with all that. Then you went into producing.
Yeah.
Right?
I've been a director for years, though. I've produced and directed for years.
Yeah, director. Yeah. How did you, why did you get into that and how did that go?
I always wanted to be a director. I don't know about you guys. Do you have any
I would actually, I want to create my own little sitcom, like The Office.
Right, but for YouTube.
Can I act in it?
Pardon?
Can I act in it?
I don't think you need to be able to act first, mate.
He did drama in high school.
Oh, well then, what did you get?
I've been on a few like adverts and shit.
What?
Yeah,
I was nearly Peter Pan. Have I told you
nearly
that?
being the key word.
But he was Peter Pan.
Oh, he was Peter Pan?
No, I was nearly Peter Pan. Like, obviously.
No, but you were a mechanic as well.
Oh, no.
So, what did you direct, produce?
Porn.
You wish. I've done loads of stuff, really.
Just like Tays vids.
Tays vids, yeah. Although there's not much directing in those because they tend to go, oi.
You did. I was a bit. We had a shoot with Laurence when he was the director
Let's
last
see what
week,
he makes up here now.
and he just fucking speaks to him like shit. Laurence will say, "Oh no, I think it'd be better doing this." And he'd look at me and go, "Hang on a minute, did he just tell me what to do?"
But that in the shoot, that's you. Like, really, do you guys require that much direction? Not
No,
really.
probably
Like, you're pretty self.
So you're getting a payday for no reason, really.
Really, I'm just the person who goes, "Can we have the studio, please?" Yeah. All right, boys, here we are.
Yeah, literally.
Lights are up. Barely.
That's half.
But directing's great fun. And producing. I just think a lot of people don't know how hard it is.
One thing I do want to touch on,
Yeah.
just before we do end, because I don't want people to think we're going to avoid it by any chance.
Sure.
Okay, you produced the Chunks in Philly podcast.
Yeah.
Now I'm just curious to expand on where you were when the news broke.
Yeah.
And how did that affect? Obviously, you were producing. That was one of your main jobs at the time. Because I think for the audience as well, when that news broke, it's affected three of us all in very different ways.
Yeah.
So I think it'd just be nice, and if we actually discussed and told the audience how it actually did affect us.
So is it fair to say, and I think maybe you get a little bit of a look behind the curtain here, I knew before it broke, if that makes sense. I knew something was coming.
Ah, okay. Well, I didn't.
I didn't either.
So I knew there was bad news to come.
Right, okay.
But you don't
How
necessarily
long
know.
before?
Not long. Not I wouldn't say.
A day before or hours?
Just not a long time before, I'd say.
Right,
In the hours leading up to it.
Right.
Just because there begins to be rumblings and people ask questions. Everyone goes around and goes, "Do you know about this thing?" And so for me, it was very surreal to then watch what felt inevitable to come out. And because I'd had my own cancellation, it was like really bad. It was like felt really big.
Yeah.
It was reminding me of other things. And then obviously you can't say anything.
Yeah.
And also, who cares what I have to say? Do you know what I mean? But like, you can't just go out in public and go, "I think this."
Yeah, and that's what people don't necessarily understand. Because I seen, obviously, when it was all a big thing, people going, "Oh, why aren't they saying this? Why aren't they saying that?" And I don't actually think we actually can't, because it's contempt of court.
Not only that, but I think it's smart not to say anything because you don't know every detail that's involved.
Yeah, very true.
And again, the loyalty thing comes into it.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has friends who they feel compromised about in some way, but they also care about those human beings.
Yep.
It doesn't matter about any of the other context around it. You still care that humans are happy and that, you know, people are treated as humans and not as just a statistic or as a celebrity or whatever. And that just all gets stripped away. All of it is gone. And suddenly you're watching something on your phone that feels like it's like, you know, it's like The Last of Us is on your phone.
Yeah.
It doesn't look real.
No. When I think, well, I know for a fact I'd finished my stream. I was laying in bed at, I think, 4 a.m. And then somebody messaged me, "Have you seen the news?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, fucking hell, what have I done here? What's going on?" And then I saw that, and I can't describe the feeling. It was a video where he was handcuffed walking through the airport.
Right. So that was the video that I saw.
Yeah.
And I just remember I just felt so cold. Even now
never
it makes
felt
me
anything
cold.
like it in my life.
I can't describe how it felt, because not only is that now someone I call a friend, but I also look at it and I think that's someone I've grown up fucking idolizing, right?
Right.
To then be able to even start Girth and Turf with him, be in YouTube videos with him, play in the Sidemen charity match with him, get to know the person that I've grew up watching, to then see that, like, I can't put into words how much it hurts, and like just to see what he's been accused of and stuff like that is you can't put it into words.
And also how confusing it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird to see your like whatever you want to friend or whatever you call it in a context you've never seen them before.
Yeah. That's the big one for me as
And
well.
for all of that to be like gone. And for other people, the surreal thing for me was watching other people be happy about it.
Yeah, that was.
And people being like, "Oh, the downfall of," or whatever. And just thinking again, like there are humans here. There are families around both.
They've got a mum.
all
They've
these
got
parts,
sisters. Like,
mums, sisters. There's again people in the accuser side who are
Exactly.
getting abused.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things, and you're expected to come out with some sort of like really well thought out statement that goes, you know, well, whatever. You're meant to say something that sums up the whole situation and will sum up the whole situation forever. You can't do
yeah,
that.
it's I woke up and I think I had a missed call for you.
Yeah.
Missed call of 8. I'm thinking, what's going on here? And I remember just opening my eyes as soon as, for some reason, it's weird. Before we even phoned anyone back, I clicked on Instagram. The first thing that came up was that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
I don't actually think I went back to bed. I couldn't sleep.
So I couldn't sleep that in.
When you found out something was going to happen.
I remember just thinking that everything's changed.
Yeah.
Well, and also there's details that we can't speak about on the podcast in terms of just, you know, in production, you don't plan 2 days ahead. You plan like months ahead, and you have like goals and dreams and ideas of where you want to take everyone's collective lives. And suddenly that's like, that's not happening anymore. And then on top of that, you also have like, how can I put it? You know, you can't just go out there and go, here's how I feel, because everyone goes, well, the brand should stand by you and you should be able to speak your mind. But there's like, at every brand, there's like, someone who's had their own experience of all these things. There's someone else who only cares that good things are associated with every brand. Yeah. And if anything bad even touches the brand, I can't risk my job. So why would we sponsor X? And suddenly people won't return phone call. I don't know, you've had the same thing, but like you're ostracized. Like you're pushed to one side for a little while and you're treated in a unusual way. But we can't speak about that openly at that time. And so it all becomes like you're grieving the loss of a life and a person and all this kind of things.
I remember how nervous and that before starting the stream.
Yeah.
And we was all like, well, what the fuck do we say? We don't know anything. We don't.
It's almost weird because people expect us to say something like, because people expect us to know more than the like everyone else does, and it's just like we only know what is in the news. We don't get inside information. Why would we? We are the general public, right? And that's another thing, because I think I went live and I had 17,000 views in 1 minute. Yeah. That's unheard of. Obviously, I'm aware why, but it's like I was sat there and I'm thinking, they're expecting me to say something here, and I'm like, I don't get me wrong. There was people coming in with all this PR and all that. I'm thinking, no, I don't need any of that, because I'm just going to speak from my heart, because that's why, first of all, people watch me, because I say it how it is. And once you start going PR mode, they're not listening to me, they're listening to someone else. Yeah. And that's why I was just open and honest, and I will always stay open and honest. And I'll just be honest, and I'll go, look, I don't know anything else other than you. This is fucking shock to me more than you can believe. And I must admit, I think every single day for a long time, I was constantly thinking of it. And then I'm thinking, I'm going to have to go stream now. But in the back of my head, I'm also thinking, well, hang on a minute. I've got someone I've idolised, someone I've grown up watching, someone I've mates with, I create this thing with, and they're on the other side of the world going through this. And it's just, it really does fuck with your head.
You have to think about it. For me, like, he was the reason I met you. Yeah. He's the reason I started YouTube. So now I'm started, like, I don't know, you feel like guilty. You do. In a way. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't quite, life is like that. And you don't want to get too like, existential, but like life is like that, where you will have influences, and those influences will then, something will happen and they'll move on to a different place or whatever. It doesn't stop you from feeling a way about it. It's like when you break up with an ex or something. You don't, some people, you instantly go, move on, whatever. Like, life just, it happens. And for some weird reason, I think you guys are expected to only have the right answers, to only say the correct thing. Yeah. And in that moment, be able to summarize it, despite the fact that people really just tune in to see you play a game or to be a personality. I think that's a bit unfair. And that's not to say there is not a much bigger stake in what's actually happening on the other side of the world. But it's still the impact on everyone's lives here, and that's what we're talking about. It's not to diminish whatever is happening there.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a different vibe.
I think I brought it down a little bit. Yeah, and a bit self-indulgent, I'd say.
We have enjoyed it, and it's the first time we've actually ever probably spoken about that, for example, on camera and for the people to listen to. And we weren't speaking about, obviously, what is going on. We're speaking about how it's impacted us three differently. Yeah. But last question to end on.
Gorilla or 100 Men?
There we go.
Was you going to say that as well?
Was that what you were going to say? Okay. Right. I'm a great co-host. I'm not a lead guy, but I'm a co-host. You know what I mean?
Right. Gorilla or 100 Men? You hit us off first, because you've got something going on.
Gorilla or 100 Men? Do you know, just say it first. Gorilla or 100 Men? Which 100
one? Men. Yeah, good.
You'd rather suck off 100 men than a gorilla?
What?
Oh, you're about a different question.
Sorry, what did you think it was?
What are you on about?
Sorry, I thought this was a Bonnie Blue thing.
No. It's who wins in a fight, 100 men or a gorilla?
Well, Bonnie Blue's ruined both ways, isn't she? Absolutely ruined. The fact that she would fuck a gorilla is incredible. That's very dare. I'm not sure that's legal, unless maybe you can get a gorilla to sign a consent form. I don't know.
It's definitely not.
100 men or a gorilla?
Well, I did this on my Snapchat yesterday because I seen it, and now I get it, right? But when I first heard
What was
it,
there not to get? Sorry.
no, when I first heard it, I thought, what a fucking stupid question. Obviously, 100 men.
Yeah. Whereas obviously all your YouTube videos are all about, you know, the existence of God and stuff like that, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but because it just seemed a bit absurd to me. Like obviously 100 people. Like, do you know how many people that is? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100.
100. Yeah. Just to put a number on it.
So I was
Pick an answer.
yeah, 100 men.
100 men?
100 men, but a lot of them die.
Yeah, a lot of them die.
I'm going to go gorilla.
You think the gorilla can beat off 100 men?
100%. And I'm going to be honest. Imagine 100 men running right, and they
Can you
all
just put a picture of a gorilla on there?
they all
Yeah, that'll help.
They all jump on the gorilla. All it takes is for him to just go rawr.
No, but-
you got 25 dead done.
But
Now you've
so
got 75 men.
are the men willing to sacrifice themselves?
Yeah.
So
mate, you ain't beating that.
Yeah, but imagine 100 people
100?
piled
No.
on top.
Let's say out of that 100,
Eddie Hall.
No.
How many die?
Out of that 100, who's volunteering to be the first 25? Because you're dead.
No, you don't have to be the first 25. You have to be 100. So you can't
Yeah,
be moving in little packs.
exactly.
It's got to be.
Yeah, but
once-
someone's got to be in the
No,
front
you
line.
got to be a
I agree.
steam train.
So
You got to be a
who's
steam
going in
train.
the front? Who's going in the front line?
You get bitten.
Silverback gorillas are significantly stronger than humans. They are typically 4 to 10 times stronger in upper body strength.
exactly.
A silverback can lift over 1,700 pounds, 800 kg. What's that? 2 chassis.
That is
right. Their bite force is also considerably higher, at 1,500 pounds per square inch.
Double.
But
of
they're
a
also
human.
very considerate lovers. So I suppose in most ways there's swings and roundabouts, really, aren't there?
Right. So what they say,
What they
I've
say.
researched.
We need to
right?
wrap up.
What do
here.
the scientists say?
Your dad should have.
Jesus.
Sorry, I've missed them jokes because we've been.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say to end on this podcast. I've just been sat here listening like this.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
No,
It's all right, we
in a
won't get
good
them on
way.
again.
No, yeah,
No,
don't.
in a good way. I've been so like I've proper enjoyed it. I've just
Yeah.
been listening like it's a book.
I came on not to do
So he should have been the fucking guest.
Yeah.
No, genuinely, I've been so interested in this.
Yeah, not hear it.
And you should get into like voice acting.
You have got a
I
voice.
think you've got a soothing voice.
Some people do say that. The only
Yeah,
person who doesn't
you do.
say that's my wife, actually.
Yeah.
Wonder why.
Can I just say, I think
Me.
I think it's good on YouTube to have a partner who will check you or who will not let you get too up yourself. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
I hear that.
So find yourself a wife who's, just willing to, every now and again, just crack you.
Just
you know
smack
what I
you
mean?
in your face.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's all right. Heather does it all the time to me. Right, and on that note, thank you very much,
But the gorilla!
ladies and gentlemen, for watching. It has been I'd say quite a serious podcast, to
Yes,
be fair.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's been really
No,
interesting.
it has. It's
No,
been
but for
different.
you.
No, but I've been thinking like I'm watching. I've just been here like this, and it's just.
So hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Leave us in the comments any guests that you think we should get on.
Not Laurence.
Yeah, definitely not
Try
Laurence.
Brandon Williams one more time.
But we'll see you next time. Au revoir.